First of all, welcome to the channel and thank you for stopping by. When time permits, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, I am almost 500 miles and 2 months into my Veridian Cruise for the 390 Adventure experience. And I thought it was time, before the real snow sets in and the real cold, and I'm simply not riding the bike that much, to update everybody on what I think of the Veridian Cruise system. For those curious, it doesn't take very long to put in, about an hour and a half. I'm basing that on the fact that it took me 2.5, and I'm not very good at that sort of thing. Pulling the things apart, just hate to do it. I'm sure when ADV Matt installs his, it'll take 30 minutes to an hour and he'll give you a video. Me, I was nicking my fingers on pieces of the frame and swearing. But keep in mind, anybody with a couple of tools and 2 hours out of their afternoon can install the Veridian Cruise system for the KTM 390 Adventure. And let's see how you'll be. Let's get on the bike and I'm going to tell you what my experience has been like, and perhaps if I can get the camera to actually show the screen, show you how consistent it is.
Okay, I'm not sure how much you're going to see out of the camera. There's going to be a bit of water on there because despite today being the nicest day in upstate New York in over 2 weeks, it's not exactly a great day for filming. That said, it's the nicest day in the last 2 weeks, so I thought it's time to get on the bike and it's time to tell people what I think of the Veridian Cruise system for the KTM 390 Adventure. Okay, we just went ahead and set the Veridian Cruise for 65. Now we'll see how it handles this uphill. Bring our speed down a little. So we're set to 55, and it doesn't move that much. Occasionally I see it head up to 56. At least earlier I saw it drop to 54, but it does a remarkably good job of maintaining speed. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my 790 Adventure R here in New York, but I know that it too is less than perfect when going up steady hills. The slight changes where you come to a plateau, it's going to speed up, but then it will bring it right back to where it should be. And honestly, when I'm using cruise control, I'm more concerned with maintaining my speed. If it goes up a little bit and drops back down with the contour of the road, that's not a big deal. I just don't want to be surprised by it dropping speed. In case anyone's interested, it is 47 degrees and raining fairly hard. Being off the heated grip is actually kind of chilly, but wouldn't really be a test of the cruise control if I've got my hand on the throttle now, would it? Now, when we want to go up or down in speed, the first thing I notice with this is when I make one adjustment, it doesn't generally change 1 mile an hour. It changes 2. Now, you may find this to be the case with your own Veridian Cruise, but I have been assured that I can plug this in and adjust it down to 1 mile an hour increments. Now we're going to go down to 2. So we started at 55, and theoretically this would put us at 53. Let's see where we end up. Actually, not bad. So there is some inconsistency here. It's not even exactly 2 every time I move it. Again, I have been assured by the manufacturer that this is programmable, and when I am not lazy, I will go ahead and plug it in and find out, and certainly update everything. Take a look at this though. We are on, and I'm sure the camera's not showing you, quite a grade. And the Veridian Cruise is doing a fantastic job of maintaining my speed. Little drop when it got steeper, not bad. Now, overall, my experience has been extremely positive. I mean, it's cruise control. It's on, it works, you can adjust it up and down. Again, some fine tuning needs to be done there, but out of the box, this is fully functional cruise control. In the time I've had it, I'm going to be, I think about 510 miles right now of having had this on the bike. And about 3/4 of that has been traveling places like this, where I just pop the cruise control on. And the only time it failed me was I had placed the cruise control on and we hit some traffic. So I turned the cruise control off by manipulating the switch. And then 10 minutes later, I couldn't get the cruise control to turn back on. I thought it was me. I tried a couple of things. I sped up, I slowed down, and it simply wouldn't engage. And what I had to do was shut the bike off. So I pulled over onto the side of the Taconic Parkway. I went ahead, shut the bike off. It was off for 10 seconds, maybe 15. Put it back on, got back up to speed, and within 30 seconds, the cruise control came on perfectly, and I've never experienced a problem since. I have to tell you, I love the placement of this. It's just fantastic. The fact that they use an OEM part, and I don't have to have yet another thing attached to my bike somewhere, because God knows I've got enough things attached to my bike already. It's wonderful being able to use the KTM part and just no extra switches. So if you're thinking of getting cruise control, I would definitely go for a brand like Veridian Cruise that will allow you to use the KTM part. And Veridian Cruise does sell a dongle if, you know, the price is not inexpensive. I'm not saying that. And if you look at that price and say to yourself, I don't want to spend that much just to add cruise control, you can go ahead and get a dongle and a switch, and hopefully your bar is not as full as mine, so there's less issues putting more things on there. But for me, it was a no-brainer. The fact that I could have the OEM switch instead, I would have paid more for the Veridian over some of the other options simply to have that. Well, there's not much else to say, really. It's cruise control for a bike that doesn't have cruise control. This is, in my opinion, one of the best upgrades you can make to this bike. With the caveat being, if, like me, you're traveling distances. If you ride yours around locally, probably cruise control is not going to add a lot to your experience. But I have a trip coming up where I'm going to have to go from New York to Charleston, South Carolina for the Palmetto ADV Fest. And I did it last year without cruise control. And I think I'm really going to enjoy having cruise control getting there this year. See how the hill does at low speed, 47. Oh, dropped a little there. This is an extremely steep hill, the steepest one we've been on yet. So it took it a moment to get back up to speed. Now, for cancellation, it's primarily the same way you would expect with anything. Grab the brake, cruise control is off. If you want to, well, Frank's in the wrong gear here, so let's straighten this out first. Now, if you don't want to grab the brake and you just want to turn it off, you can just hit the switch, cruise control is off. The thing to be wary of is the rear brake is not attached, so I can be in cruise control And no matter what I do with my rear brake, I'm still in cruise control. So that is an idiosyncrasy. They just don't have the data, according to the instructions, to use the rear brake as a method of disengaging cruise control. So keep that in mind. As any bike with cruise control from the factory, you can hit either of the brakes and it's going to drop off. Now, as a rule, I believe our problem as motorcyclists is grabbing a little too much front brake and not hitting the back brake. So in theory, as soon as you panic brake, you're absolutely going to disengage. All right, well, I am getting rained on like crazy. So I hope that this lets you know what I think of the Veridian Cruise system for the KTM 390 Adventure. My closing thoughts are, it's magical. If you have the means and you do feel that cruise control adds something to a motorcycle, I 100% wholeheartedly recommend you get the Veridian Cruise system for your KTM 390 Adventure. It really adds so much to the bike. The bike has so much to offer, but KTM just doesn't feel cruise control is for us. Here's your opportunity to add it yourself. We'll take this a little carefully because it's soaking wet, cold ground. All right, folks, if you stuck around, thank you. I sincerely appreciate it, and take care.